Hey everyone, and welcome to this 7th CSS tutorial. In this video I'm going to show you just quickly how to format text with CSS. So there's a number of different ways you can do this. We've got the text formatting properties. We've already looked at a lot of these. Color, which is just straightforward, where you just type color and then the name of your color, which we saw in an earlier tutorial. You can either type in text or with a hex code or in RGB format. We've got text align, which can either be right, left, center, or justified. That's all straightforward as well. We've got text decoration, which is things like strike through, underline, overline. We've got text transformation, which lets you specify whether you want it to be in uppercase or lowercase, or capitalize, where the first letter in every word will be uppercase. And then we've got text indentation, which is just a number expressed either in pixels or percentages, EM, whatever units you want to use from the previous video, to say how much you'd like to indent your text from the left. We've also got a series of font properties. So font family, we're going to look at more in the next video and how to use external font families. We've got font style, which is stuff like normal, italic, I can't remember what others there are actually, but it's usually just used for italics. We've got font size, which we saw in the last video, how we can set it using either absolute or relative units. The most common font size units are pixels, EM, percentages. And then we've got font weight, which can be expressed either in a number between 100 and it's 100 between 500, or you can use it in bold, such as font weight is light, or font weight is bold, or font weight is extra bold. And then we've got font variant as well, which is like caps, small caps we've got in this example. So let's quickly look at an example. So let's delete the stuff from the last video. So say we've got a paragraph element like this. And we can just apply what we like to this. So we can do color equals whatever color that is. We can do font size equals 200%, which would be double font size, to 100%, which is standard. We can do font family equals we're going to look at font family more in the next video, because there's a lot of extra stuff you can do with it, like importing fonts from Google Fonts and stuff like that. We can set font weight like we saw, and then there's of course all the text properties as well, like that. So we can see we can very easily set change text around. Very straightforward in CSS. So in the next video we're going to look at more about using external font families. Actually no, we've got time to cover font families in this video. So first of all, it's important to note that by default your browser hasn't got a lot of fonts loaded. We can use standard stuff like Arial pretty safely. But as you've seen here, I've written Arial, sans. So the browser will first of all look for Arial. If it can't find Arial, it'll just display standard sans, or we could have done sans serif. So if I had a font that my browser didn't have, like whatever that is, came over here, refreshed, if it loads, we'll see we're now just doing standard sans serif, or we could have done sans, which looks a bit different from Arial. And if you'd like to see what fonts you can use, we can just see the list of web safe fonts here. So you can see that we've got the standard font name, which is always in speech marks, followed by your backup font, followed by your backup font. And you know that all browsers are going to have serif and sans serif loaded, so you always put that one last. And if you want to use another font, say any font in the world, or pretty much any font in the world, you can load them from Google Fonts. There's a number of fonts websites similar to that. Spell that wrong. And this just lets you choose a font and then import it into your page. So if we choose a font from here, say this one, we go to Quick Use. We can choose whether we want normal or bold. It gives us this line here, which will import it into our code. So we put that above our style sheet like that. And then in our font, we can literally just copy that and paste it like that. And we'll see that we're now using Droid Sans, which wasn't the best font example since it doesn't look that different from our ordinary font, but you can choose pretty much any font from here and use it in the same way. You can also define your own font faces in CSS using the annotation like this. You just type at font face. You give it a name, whatever you like, with the font family property. So my font, and then you give it a location with the src property, and you can do this with a URL, which is the most common way of doing it. So maybe you've got fonts, something like that, and then in here you just set your font just like this. Refresh your page and you should see your changes. So thanks for watching my video on CSS text formatting, and if you find it helpful, please subscribe.